Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today we're going to talk about some series that I would like to start in 2019. So I haven't read a single book in any of these series, and all of these have at least 2 books out and possibly have many more to them. They're either duologies, trilogies, or go on further than that. All of these are ones that I kind of intended to start. I own at least the first book of all of these. I own the full series for a few of them, and yeah, apparently I don't have enough series on the go right now, so let's add some more to that pile. The first series that I want to start reading in 2019 is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. So of course Samantha Shannon has Priory of the Orange Tree, which is coming out in February and is like my most highly anticipated book of 2019. I'm so excited to read that, but I wanted to get back to her other books. The Bone Season is a series that she started, God, I don't know, a while ago. I think it's been quite a long time, but I believe she's just finished writing the 4th one, and I want to get caught up on this. I think it's going to be a projected 7-book series. I remember hearing that, but I'm not 100% sure. So as far as I can tell, The Bone Season is kind of complicated and difficult because it deals with things like clairvoyance and alternative London and all of this crazy stuff. I don't really know what it's about, but I have enough of an idea to know that it's quite complex and complicated, and it sounds like something I'd really like. So I think The Bone Season is the first one. Then I think it's actually The Mime Order and then The Song Rising. I have no idea. But I bought all of these because I wanted to win a copy of Priory. I did not at Yalk. And so now I own them all. I should probably read them. And I know I'm gonna like them. I know they're quite brutal though. So maybe I'll space them out like I usually do. But if nothing else, I'd like to read The Bone Season in 2019. Next up, we have one of the sort of most talked about trilogies of 2018. I have not read any of this author's books, and I desperately want to change that because she's amazing, just an amazing person, and these books are supposed to be incredible. This is the Broken Earth Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. So we have the 5th season, then I believe we have the Obelisk Gate, and we have the Stone Sky. And this is a complete trilogy. It just finished in 2018, I believe, and this is one of, I think, the first or one of the very few series to win the Hugo 3 years in a row. It's a massively successful and celebrated series, and I just desperately need to read it. All I know about these books, this is going to be kind of a theme, all I know about these books is that it deals with sort of a post-apocalyptic fantasy. It's all about sort of relationships between mothers and their children, and it's supposed to be incredible. I know the thing that people talk about the most is the fact that some of it is told in the 2nd person, which is apparently quite jarring, and that turns people off, but I feel like that won't bother me that much, especially because I know what's going to happen. So I'm very excited to read these. I feel super out of the loop and left out, and I really want to get to these very soon. Next up is one of the most celebrated YA series, and I haven't read it yet, which seems to be the case with quite a lot of YA series. I'm catching up. I'm new to YA, so I'm catching up on some of the older stuff. But this looks particularly good and really interesting. I don't know about the rest of the books, because I know literally nothing about them or how they are, but I'm very excited to read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I have a really difficult time saying that title. I don't know anything about this book except the fact that it's like filled with really creepy photos, which is cool and also slightly horrifying, but it looks really interesting, and I know that this was like a huge game changer when it came out. I think there's maybe 4 books. I think Map of Days is maybe the most recent one, and that came out earlier this year, I think. I just need to catch up. If nothing else, I'd like to read the first one. For whatever reason, to me, this feels like a kind of series where you can maybe read the first one and don't really need to bother with the rest of them, but we'll see how that goes. It says on the back here that this is a novel that mixes fiction and photography for a thrilling reading experience. As our story opens, a horrific family tragedy sets 16-year-old Jacob journeying to a remote island off the coast of Wales, where he discovers the crumbling ruins of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And as he starts to explore, he learns a little bit more about these children, and they might have been more than just a little bit peculiar. This sounds great. I know I had a terrible movie made of it recently, which I have no interest in, but it looks very unsettling and weird. I don't know if it's supposed to be scary or not, but we'll see. The next book that I have is one that I'm very excited for, if nothing else. These covers are amazing, the author is awesome, and I'm super excited to read The Bone Witch by Rin Chipeko. So this is a book that is about a girl who is a necromancer. which is, of course, very much looked down upon, and she has to leave her home to go and train under an older necromancer, bone witch. However, there is war brewing. Crazy stuff is gonna happen. These look really good. I'm very excited to read these. And this is another one where I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I don't know, it's just been kind of languishing on my shelf, but I was so excited to finally find a copy in the UK because they've been hard to find in actual bookshops. But for whatever reason, I've just not picked it up. I think there's 3 books in this series. I think the most recent one is The Heart Forger, maybe, and I am really looking forward to this. It's going to be fantastic. I know I'm going to like it. It's just one of those books, so hopefully I'll be able to get to this one soon. The next book that I have is one that I think is just a duology, which makes for a little bit of a change. This is The Star-Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi. So this is a book that's based on Indian mythology, and I know that it's quite lyrical from what I hear, which kind of turns people off a little bit because the writing style is a little bit different. However, I like those kinds of books, and I love books that are based on mythology, particularly mythology that I don't know much about. So this is about a girl named Maya, and she has a horoscope that predicts that her marriage will bring about death and destruction, so she earns scorn and fear in her father's kingdom. However, she's not really bothered by this because she gets to pursue her scholarly interests, which is not something she would get to do normally. She ends up making a political match, and she's married off to man of another kingdom, and she finally begins to find her voice. However, she fears that her life may be in danger. This sounds really great. I've been meaning to read this for so long. I think I bought this in 2017, but it's just been sitting on my shelf, and just, yeah, this is another one that it kind of slipped through the cracks in my shelf, and I just never got around to it, but I'm super excited to read this. Again, I think I'm gonna really love this one, just based on what I've heard from other people, whether they like it or not. The next book that I got is one that I bought for a couple of reasons. One, I really like the author. I've had some interactions with her via Twitter, which is kind of where I live, and I heard that this book is a favorite of a friend of mine who is very persuasive. This is The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. So I believe The Ninth Reign, this is an older copy. I believe this just won the British Fantasy Award, which is super exciting. And I know that this is maybe her second trilogy, so if I like this trilogy, I can go back and read it. I believe it's called the Copper Cat Trilogy. I ended up picking up this book because my friend Bethan really liked it, and because of her enthusiasm for it, I decided that I would love it too. I know literally nothing about this. I've never even read the back, so I'm going to continue in that and just go in completely blind because I do really enjoy doing that. However, it does have a quote from Adrian Tchaikovsky on the front, and he of course wrote Children of Time, which is one of my all-time favorite books, so I'm going to go ahead and trust. The last book that I have to talk about is one that is now complete. It is a complete trilogy, and I believe the last book came out earlier this year. I am very, very excited to read this. I don't really know what I'm going to expect. I've never read anything by this author before, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up And I Darken by Kiersten White very soon. All I know about this is that it is a gender-bent Vlad the Impaler retelling, so our main character is a woman, and of course if you don't know who Vlad the Impaler was, he was kind of the inspiration for the character of Dracula. This is going to be very exciting, this is going to be great. My friend Judith really likes these books from what I remember, and I know I'm going to love them too. I just, for whatever reason, I never got around to this. I think I bought this early on when I started blogging, and I just bought up everything that I could possibly find, everything that people were talking about, and it just kind of sat on the shelf because I bought so many books I couldn't possibly read them, which is still a problem today, but I would really like to read this soon. This is high on my list of priorities. It looks so good. So those are some of the series that I really want to start in 2019. I know I'm not going to have time to start them this year, so I'm hopefully going to be able to get to them next year. In the comments below, let me know what you think of any of these books, if you've read them or if they're on your TBR as well. I would love to know what you think and where you think that maybe I should start. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.